Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Automatic, part of the Generation 3 of the Overseas, a series that was new for 2016. This is probably the most up-to-date and heavily invested watch of its type, as Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe have been coasting on the fat of past times for quite a while now. 41mm in stainless steel on my 16cm circumference wrist, this watch wears quite easily and naturally. It is not thick, the timepiece measuring a very manageable 11.3mm thick, and as you can see, a sloped case flank allowing it to slip underneath any cuff, especially a tight dress sleeve. You can see that the watch lug to lug is fairly broad. Case alone, it's 48.9mm lug to lug, but if you include the rigid flare of the bracelet, it is an imposing 56.5, but don't let that dissuade you. As you can see, it is a curved 56.5 that wraps around the wrist fairly well, so don't think this wears like a big pilot. It's not almost a 57mm watch effectively across the wrist. It just doesn't wear that way. Now, if you're a fan of the Patek Philippe 5711 in the silver dial, I believe that's the -11 model, or the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 15400 with silver dial, this is going to be the one for you. Probably the most versatile of the three dials available. The silver dial also boasts the best outright contrast. Now, the bracelet is a handsome piece, and I should clarify that when you buy a Gen 3 Overseas, you get a strap in rubber, you get a strap in leather, you get a full bracelet, and you get a separate steel deployant clasp if you want to use the straps. All of the above feature an easy pull-tab release system on the underside of the case that allows you to remove any of the accessory straps or bracelets and quickly replace them just as easily, so you can do all of that without tools. Now, the finishing is quite nice. As you can see, the Maltese cross motif recurs at the center of the links. There's a polished bevel that expands on the case flank and continues perfectly aligned across the shoulders of the links. Note that there's also polish in between the links. The inner creases of the Maltese cross are of high polish, and you really only see that as you roll the bracelet through the light, so the attention to detail and the design is superb. Every individual link on the Overseas bracelet is removable, and that on both sides, so you will be able to find the perfect size and the fit for your wrist. The buckle is a double fold deployant, and unlike the Royal Oak, it's not sequential, so one side can't accidentally close over the other and mar its finish. Maltese cross externally. You can see internally, stainless steel, twin trigger deployant, so this one cannot accidentally pop open, nicely executed, handsomely made, and quite secure. The case flank, all of high polish. There is that handsome bevel along the shoulder, and there is a satin finish to the lug hoods as well as the hood of the case. You'll note one difference between this and the Generation 2 Overseas. There is a circular plinth with a polished outer face and a satin hood that sits between the upper case and the bezel itself, so that's a little bit of a distinction, so you can always tell the two apart at a glance. There is satin finish within the recesses of the Maltese cross, and it's vertical satin, and then the flares as well as the bezel top, all of high polish. There is a flange-like rayhot that slopes down from the bezel to the dial base, and you can see this is all of silver finish with a sunburst striation that radiates out from the cannon pinion at center. All applique indices, they are white gold, but they are smoked or oxidized black, as are the hands. This is actually the easiest of the dials to read because of the contrast between that smoked black and the silver of the dial. You can also see that the watch features a white gold applique Vacheron logo at 12 o'clock. There's that Maltese cross. There is plenty of lume. There will be a lume shot. There's also a metallic bezel, nicely easing the transition from the plane of the dial to the date disc, and there is a quick set for the date. The only real refinement that this watch lacks is stop seconds. Turn it over and you can see for the first time on an Overseas, we may as well just denude this one of its bracelet, because if you can't see the case back of a Geneva hallmark movement, why bother? I don't have quite the nails that I used to, so bear with me for a moment. And now, boom, just like that, you could see the movement unobstructed. So this is the first ever display case back for an Overseas. Generation 3 made this all new. So no longer borrowed movements from JLC or Frederic Piguet. Here is a Vacheron manufactured caliber. This is the 5100 60-hour power reserve automatic winding, a 22-karat rotor that is engraved with the compass rose pattern. You can see this one beaten away at 4 Hertz, adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer. It also features the Geneva hallmark you can see on the bridge of the winding system, but also note note that this is a Geneva Hallmark case. As post 2012, you will see the mark on both the case and the movement, as it is a full watch standard. Note that there is mirrored anglage. You can see it lighting up at the edges of the bridges. You can also see that the cap to the shock protection system is black polished, as are all of the screw heads. They feature black polished caps and chamfered slots. There is a frosted pattern as well as a concentric graining on the rotor, and then you can see that Côte de Genève perfectly aligned, laid down with an abrasive wheel across the bridges. There is an engine-turned perlage on the base plate that you can just barely see from this angle. Finish by and large is excellent. You can really see that mirrored anglage from this angle. The watch is highly water resistant with a screw-down crown. It features 150 meter water resistance, and with a paramagnetic ring that encircles the caliber. Despite the display caseback, you do have 25,000 ampere per meter magnetic resistance, which puts this watch solidly above the ISO standard for an anti-magnetic watch, which is 4,800 amperes per meter. This is the do-it-all Vacheron Constantin, and the only sports watch you need. See it and make it yours on the Watchbox. Vacheron Constantin Overseas Automatic.